On behalf of Mo Hyder, our Vice President and General Manager, who is unfortunately out of town and not able to make it today, our entire leadership team and Rhythm City staff, it's my pleasure and honor to welcome the Honorable Mayor Mike Matson, Davenport City Council, elected officials and community leaders from across our Quad Cities, our acting city administrator, Mallory Merritt, and her leadership team, and city staff. We're so happy to have you all here at Rhythm City. We're so appreciative of our partnership that we have with the city. This week, Rhythm City celebrates her 8th anniversary here on Elmore Avenue. This entertainment destination wouldn't be possible without a collaborative partnership with the city of Davenport. Rhythm City is yet one great example of a private business working with and collaborating with the city of Davenport. Varying perspectives coming together to form a common vision and creating a great destination in the city of Davenport. It's our pleasure to host Mayor Matson. We thank you for your leadership and look forward to hear your vision for the future of Davenport. It's now my pleasure to introduce our Rotary President, Mr. Mike Matson.
Thank you, Paul. It is a privilege to be the Rotary President, the Rotary Club of Davenport President, and to have Mayor Matson and several mayors from the past as part of our organization. Thank you for allowing us to be here. You may be asking, what is Rotary? Rotary is the world's first and largest service organization. There are more than 33,000 clubs in over 200 countries. Locally, there are 4 Rotary clubs in Scott County, and with nearly 400 members. What does Rotary do? Our Rotary clubs have done everything in the community and worldwide. Locally, we've built parks. We've helped complete the Miracle Field, if you're familiar with that, on 53rd and Eastern at Eastern Avenue Park, and been involved with things like Habitat for Humanity, the school systems, and so on and so forth. The Rotary clubs are very big on supporting community. Annually, our Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of Davenport, as do all the other clubs, by supporting the schools, we give away scholarships, and the Davenport Rotary Club has given away over $2 million worth of scholarships to date, of which we just gave away about $48,000 in scholarships, a scholarship to each high school in Davenport. So globally, the Rotary clubs partner with other clubs throughout the world and have done things like building water wells, schools, hospitals, provided medical supplies, but probably the biggest claim to fame, if you will, that is our Rotary Club. Rotary, how many of you in the room have had a brush with polio? Okay, we've only seen one hand. Thank you, Rotary, because Rotary in 1973 took on the challenge of wiping polio off our planet. And it is endemic in only 2 countries in the world today, and there's only been a handful of cases reported. So Rotaries were this close to eradicating polio from our planet, and that was a Rotary effort. So if you'd like to be part of a club that's greater than you and that likes to think big and is well-grounded as community, but thinks big as global, please consider joining a Rotary Club. I guarantee you there's one in the community that you live in if you're not in Davenport, but if you are in Davenport, I would invite you to join the Rotary Club of Davenport. Now I'd like to introduce for our invocation, Alan Ross with the Jewish Federation of the Quad Cities.
Good afternoon. I'd like to offer two prayers today. The first prayer is for the hostages in Gaza, of which 5 are American citizens. We hope and pray for their release soon. Let us pray for them. May the Holy One, who blessed our fathers and our mothers, bless, keep, and protect those who are in dire straits and in captivity. May the Holy One have compassion on them, bring them out from darkness and despair, break their chains, and from their depths redeem them. May God return them quickly to their families. Let them realize the fulfillment of the verse, those redeemed by God shall return and come to Zion in song, and anguish and moaning shall depart. And let us say, Amen. Second prayer is a prayer for our country, which is given every week at synagogues throughout our country. Our God and God of our ancestors, would mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. Adonai, God whose spirit is in all creatures, we pray that your spirit be awakened within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and friendship among the many peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty from our land. May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And let us all say, Amen. Now I'd like to introduce Tim Simmons with the Disabled American Veterans QC Chapter 2. Thank you.
I'm going to introduce the color guard, and we will have the playing the national anthem and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Post the colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. It's my pleasure to introduce my friend, fellow veteran, and president of Friends of Veterans Memorial Park, Bill Churchill.
Let me start out by saying that I am fired up. Fired up because I once again have the opportunity to introduce our very special mayor of Davenport. I'm also fired up because of the things that we are about to see and hear when he makes his presentation today, because the city of Davenport has a lot to be proud of. However, they said I only have 1 to 2 minutes to do this. So that fires me up too. But oh well, I'll get going. Mike Matson is in his 3rd term as mayor of Davenport and his 5th year. I think it's fair to say, unfortunately, in those 5 years, the city of Davenport, excuse me, the city of Davenport, the city council, the city staff, and of course the mayor have faced some of its greatest challenges the city has ever faced. Fortunately, however, the citizens of Davenport, we have a leader who has experience in dealing with very tough and difficult situations. He's been there and done that. Mike Matson fought in the war in Afghanistan as the Joint Forces Special Operations Supervisor. He knows how to lead. He has and he will continue to get us through the good times, as we're going to see here shortly, but also through the tough times. He not only leads the way in Davenport, he is a commissioner and member of the Scott Emergency Management Team, Scott Emergency Communications Center, Bi-State Regional Committee, is chairman of the Regional Transportation Committee and the Iowa Metro Coalition, and one of only 15 intergovernmental advisory committee members to the U.S. Trade Ambassador. It is my pleasure once again to introduce my friend and our mayor, Mike Matson.
Thank you, Bill. It's an honor to call you a friend. Many folks in here, it's an honor to call you friends, but I have the privilege and opportunity today to stand before you and talk about what's been going on and what's going on and what will go on in Davenport, but I'm just the spokesman. We have to talk about and acknowledge a lot of folks that make this happen, and many of you are sitting here today. But before we do anything, I want to talk about the people that make it happen. But first, let's give, and I don't know how to say this differently, and sometimes I'm not real good with words, but that wasn't one of the best quintet renditions and musicians playing to open this, and their names Chris Haas, Kevin Sells, Mark Zala, Robert Parker, Ron Morton, and their leader Brian Baxter from the Quad City Symphony Orchestra Brass Quartet. Let's give them a round of applause. And I'm honored to be followed by some gentlemen that are leaders in our community and do so many things behind the scenes. Certainly, I think most everybody recognizes Paul Sikorsky, who led our police department through many, many years and almost 40 years of dedicated service to our city. Mike Matson, thank you, and the Rotary, to all the work you do for people. And again, it's usually behind the scenes. People don't know, but the amount of effort and influence that you have on so many people, especially children, is to be applauded. Alan Ross, I can't say enough to you and your organization, and I see Rabbi over there. The things you're going through now, I can only say our hearts are with you. Thank you for that wonderful prayer that hopefully we can live up to. Tom Simmons, great friend, disabled veteran, thank you as always for doing what you and your organization does. The awesome police and fire joint color guard adds a special touch as always to things that we do here in Davenport. And you know, I talk about our police and fire and our first responders. They raise their hand and say, pick me. When everybody else is running away, they go to it. And then our color guard gets to add a little special touch. So let's give a special applause to those guys. And then except for my wife and kids, and now almost 6 grandkids later since I've been mayor, I can't say enough about the next gentleman, Bill Churchill, who leads Vietnam veteran from Davenport, Friends of Veterans Memorial Park, involved in a lot of things, teacher, veteran. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for, again, it's people behind the scenes doing what they do. And you're awesome. Thank you, Bill. And you're going to hear me at the end talk a lot about who does stuff and who makes things happen. Again, I have the privilege to stand before you and talk about some of these things, but I'll start off with just a small recognition here at the beginning to the team that put this together. And I don't know about you, but as you walk in the doors and you see the setup, thank you, Isle of Capri. I'm sorry, Isle of Capri. Thank you, Rhythm City. That's my Murphy. Okay, and if you know what Murphy is. Thank you, Rhythm City, for this awesome setup. The centerpieces are just beautiful, and all the work you do to make this a special occasion. But Miss Merritt, Mr. Krupp, Mr. Hernandez, Miss McWilliams, Miss Murphy, Miss Castleman, Miss Jones, Latricia, Miss Whitehurst, and Miss Treese, please stand. I know they don't want to, but oh well, it's my show, so you get to stand. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. They made this thing happen, so thank you very much. All right, next. City Council, if you're here, and I think most are, please stand to be recognized. These folks every day, and again, if you please stand, that'd be nice. If it's up to you if you don't want to, but they take to heart every day, and it's pretty good debate sometimes, but their caring and compassion and concern, those 3 C's for what goes on in Davenport and how to make it a better place is simply amazing. Thank you. Okay, so I'm now going to read a list, and I apologize, and for you military folks, I guess I'll do push-ups if I miss you, but Penny from Senator Grassley's office, Michelle from Senator Ernst's office, John from Representative Miller Meek's office, Representative Cindy Winkler, State of Iowa Representative, Mr. Beck, Miss Dixon, Miss Rawson, Mr. Kenobi from the supervisors and the county office, Mr. Sharmer, administrator from our county, who are wonderful partners for us, former Mayor Klipsch, Colonel Mitchell, Garrison Commander for the Rock Island Arsenal, great partner with the City of Davenport and our community, who has become a friend of mine, and we work together a lot because people say the river is our greatest asset, and sometimes it's a concern, but I'll tell you what, there's a gentleman on the other side of the river that I've got to know, and Mayor Tomes, thank you very much for being here. We work together a lot, and I appreciate what you do. The Figgy, the Putnam, Honor Flight, Steve Garrington, I saw. Mr. Guster with the NAACP, Ms. Robertson with LULAC, Mr. Ghost and TJ from the Davenport Community School District, and I'll talk about them later, but probably, arguably, one of our best partners. Mr. Toker with the Chamber, Quad City Bank and Trust, DDP, Downtown Davenport Partnership, YMCA, Bi-State, Rotary, Hy-Vee, et cetera. All these folks that come together in organizations, and I apologize if I miss anybody, Family Resources, et cetera, to make this city, to make this community great. So thank you, and if I apologize, come get me, and I'll make sure you're taken care of somehow. So let's give all of those folks a round of applause. Okay, so how do we get to where we are, and how do we talk about what we do? It's hard, and it's a hard discussion, but it breaks down into a simple focus. What are the things that we need to focus on? We meaning me, the council, the staff, the city, the workers, everything, and how do we get there? How do we determine what it is? So we have 6 pillars. This is based on, you'll see me talk about it in the future, input from our citizens, and our people and our citizens are the most important. And sometimes it's tough, and sometimes that discussion is tough, and sometimes the input is tough. But that's what's so great about this community, the input and the caring from the citizens that keep us on our toes and make us understand what the priorities are. And out of that, and all of the discussion with all of you at so many different opportunities, and then the discussion of the council to what we need to focus on so that we can, at the end of the day, tell our city administrator, tell our city departments what to work on and what to focus on. So we have our pillars. Those are called our 6 operational pillars. And then with the new council, I'm sure everybody's probably heard, we have a pretty wide open, discussing, caring, wanting to do the right thing city council. And we've added some drivers to that. So out of the pillars, things that this council said, we call them policy drivers. Go forward and do this. Public safety infrastructure, obviously all the time. Economic development, governments, and carryover initiative that we've been working on, but take a while. Let's keep doing those. So the administrator gets the work plan from the pillars and from the council, and then moves forward and executes. And that's how it works, and it's a great discussion to get there, and that's where we are, and you can see what we're focusing on as we move forward. Next. So what do we do? Some of the highlights of what's been going on and what we focus on, and I'm so proud to stand before you and highlight some of these things. Our budget, our financial situation is probably one of the best it's ever been. It's stable, it's balanced, and it's strong because of the work of the people that do the work in our city staff. Miss Merritt and her financial and budget departments, and then with the council's focus on public safety and infrastructure, the drivers that we talked about, economic development, so that and governance and transparency and the things we need to keep working on. That's where the budget is. You'll see more examples of it, but you've said it, other people have said it, and continue to tell us these are where you should put the money. And then the staff executes, and our budget, with almost a 25% fund balance and been acknowledged by many organizations outside of ours, is in a really good place. So I'm very proud of that. Next. Okay, so fiscal vitality, what we do, we continue to have that strong financial position, and I'm again, get the privilege and talk to you about what goes on, but take it from the people that rate it. The rating agencies, and we go there, and I thank Alderwoman Newton and Alderwoman Lynch for accompanying and helping and advising and giving great input into this. We went up to Chicago and we talked with them. Last year, I think you're aware, it's almost impossible to get an upgrade from these folks, especially in governments. We got that. And then they recognize the stable position that we're in, and you can read the slides in front of you. We looked in many cases, and you'll hear this again, we look to many outside agencies to give us input, give us direction and advice on what we're doing and how we're doing it. And at least from a couple that do it for everybody and talk about all the things, and many city governments are not getting these type of comments. But a credit to our staff, a credit to our council, a credit to the people that do the work. We're in a pretty good position. So thank you for that. All right, so highlights for the budget. Everybody wants to know about budget. We talked about it, so I'm not going to stay here too long, but there's a sentence in the middle that hasn't happened for a long time. We've reduced the tax rate this year. That's pretty historic for the city of Davenport. Because we're in such a strong financial position, we're able to adapt and do that, but even based on many of the things that are going on in the city. So I just want to say we're very flexible, stable, and a balanced budget, and we're in a great position. Thank you again to the staff for doing that. Next. So what other things are we focusing on? You're going to hear a lot. Economic development. So you're in the northern part of the city, northern part of the county, and just to the west of us, you've probably seen, and if you do any kind of driving on Interstate 80 or any kind of driving on many of our roads, especially in the north part, but also along the river, there's some things going on. And you've probably seen big buildings being put up and all these companies coming. Well, those are examples of some. And somebody said to me, quite frankly, multiple people said to me when we were talking about Amazon, you're not going to get the people, you're not going to get the jobs, they're not going to fill it. They're fully capable, they're fully operational, and there's 1,500 jobs there. If you haven't been there and seen the robotics, and if you haven't been there and seen how they do business, it's pretty amazing. But all the other things there, and then I'm superstitious, so there's a possibility of something happening that will set the record, if it does, for economic development here. It will set the record in that you can combine Sterilite, Kraft Heinz, which was an awesome story in and of itself, and Amazon. Put those all together doesn't equal this. So we'll see how that goes. We hope the city council approved a package, the state approved a package, and I think because of our intentional attitude to bring jobs and opportunities here, I think we have a good shot. So we'll see, but thanks to Russell also building out there, this opportunity is almost an $800 million plus opportunity. So we'll see how that goes, but just to be able to be in the conversation and kind of be a finalist for that is pretty awesome. Next. Okay, corridor developments, and as we move, we talk about housing, we talk about housing units, we talk about investment, we talk about other areas that need work. You've probably heard about North Park. We're putting together a working group. We're setting the table for that, and we have a partner, a good partner in the ownership at North Park. We have a good partner in many folks around here that want to do something. So we're moving forward with that working group. We had a study done, a consulting firm come in and give us advice, so we're running with that. But North Park, Kimberly, that Kimberly area study was recently done, and we'll work with Matrix to have the implementation. But that working group is happening. Rockingham Road, the Davenport Community School District Partnership. We've been working and talking with them for a while, and I think Mr. Gosa, his leadership, and Mr. Schneckloff, their leadership and their board, they've taken some pretty innovative, bold steps to reinvigorate their facilities. And what it's going to mean to many folks on the west end and east end of our city, especially young folks, is pretty historic. As you guys know, and anybody who follows what happens in Davenport for a long time, some of our places are a little old, but they've taken that innovative step, and that's hard to do that. And I want to applaud you and thank you for your work, and thank you for being such great partners. Next. So I talked about at the beginning, how do we get some of the information? We give citizen surveys, and for everybody in Davenport, pay attention because there's one coming this year. What do you want us to do? What do you think's important? What do you like? Hey, I think sanitation services is good. Hey, I think this piece needs work. You're going to get that. Please participate, because we use that as a significant indicator on what we should do. And the council has been, and I foresee, being very interested in what that survey is going to say. We were last time, we were the time before, and we were the time before. And now we're going to see what it says again. These are what it says for us to do. It's not unusual. Fix our streets, make sure public safety is squared away, take care of quality of life, and have some community priorities. That's what we're going to do, but I'm just giving you a heads up. And I want to thank the residents that either talk to their city council folks, talk to me, talk to you guys and then you talk to us, or you fill out the survey, or you tell people what's going on. Sometimes, like I said at the beginning, it's not comfortable. There's some stuff we get told, oh, I don't know, but that's important. We need to hear it, we need to listen to it, and then depends what it is and how many people are saying it, and what's the survey say? Does the council do it? Does it make a priority? Does it put it in under one of those pillars? And then do we, at the end of the day, put money to it? So pay attention when the survey comes out. Pay attention when we're talking about it, whether the city's talking about it or anybody else, and you media people in the back. When that comes out, tell everybody about it so we can get as much input as we do. Thank you. Next. Okay, infrastructure. Everybody, this is probably the one thing that most people talk to me about other than public safety. Mike, fix our roads. Mike, do this. You have potholes. You have this road. You have that. Now what I get, and I said this last year, but I still get it, is, Mike, you have too many barricades out there. I can't get around. Good. Don't go in the barricades. Don't go into those areas we're fixing. We're going to continue to do that. But there's some projects that are listed up here. I'll talk a little bit about the flood stuff, but the water pollution control point and that mitigation, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute, but it's a priority of the city council to do these things. But it's also critical that we have relationships with our federal and state partners, because nobody can do anything by themselves. And the folks that are sitting out there, again, the staff, from Senator Ernst, Senator Grassley, Representative Miller Meeks, and everyone else in our federal and state area, and I'll say thank you, Governor Reynolds, and thank you, our representatives and our senators, for getting the work done to get us some money to do these things. And you'll hear about a big project and award that we got recently. It's because of the relationships. These things don't happen by the city of Davenport just bellying up and paying for it. We get help on most things. And that's the way you need to do business, is public, private, government, state, federal, other people's money to leverage other people's money. You'll hear that too, so that we can get projects done. But there's a heck of a lot of things going on, and I apologize, sort of. Barricades are going to happen, roads are going to get done, bridges are going to get fixed, and you might have to go around a little bit. That's okay. We're doing what you asked. Next. All right, flood resiliency. Again, you've heard my speech probably, but I think it's so important to talk about it. So many years, so many decades, so many times, this discussion of what to do about a flood, what to do about River Drive, what to do about all of that has been pushed down the road. But a couple years ago, City Council said, nope, we're taking this on. And now, because of previous city councils, this city council, we're doing the work. Things underground are being done. We're putting millions and millions of dollars into infrastructure to help alleviate or at least mitigate the underground issues that cause much of the issues with the flood. People say, well, just put, you've heard it, put up a wall. Okay, it would look really weird to have a wall in a flood, right? Because a lot of the water goes underneath. River goes where it goes. So because of the work of H.R. Green, because of the work of the council and our staff, we are doing flood mitigation. And many of the stuff, projects that we've been talking about are either being worked on now or some of it's already been done. So we're going to continue that focus. You're going to continue to see work and barricades and things along River Drive, so that at the end of the day, River Drive and Commerce can stay open and we can have our 9 miles of riverfront mitigated. Next. All right, so continuing about a flood, but one of the things that just happened recently, and I'm so proud of all the people involved, and there were many from the staff and others and our state and federal partners, we got a PROTECT grant. And for people who don't know what a PROTECT grant is, that is rare and hard and potentially a record fund that we received to help work on mitigating the flood stuff. And critical infrastructure being done as we speak to get that. It took us a couple years and a couple iterations and have the application on Secretary Buttigieg's desk. This year, he approved it. And I want to give a special shout out because some of us, Mayor Tomes was with us, some of the chamber folks were with us. We went to DC and Alderman Grip was with us. We went and had face-to-face conversations with the Chief of Staff for Secretary Buttigieg. We went and had face-to-face conversations and explained the importance and the need. And we got this. and this is historic, and this is great, and the thanks and the work to Mr. Merritt and his technical expertise to explain what this is got Secretary Buttigieg to give us this grant. So thank you for what you did. Okay, River and Marquette, another one. Representative Miller Meeks, thank you for that. A lot of projects that we get, again, partnerships, that's what we're doing. So you're gonna see these big holes, you're gonna see these barricades, you're gonna see all of this infrastructure work, and I say see, sometimes you see, because a lot of it's underground and people are like, what are you doing? The amount of work that's being done to mitigate the flood underground, which is the key to everything before we do above ground, is happening. So thank you very much. Next. All right, Duck Creek Sewer Project. People have been calling me and saying, Mike, you're taking down some trees, you're messing up my walk on the bike path, things like that, and you keep going along the bike path and Duck Creek path west. What the heck are you doing? I can't ride my bike. And I'm saying, please, please be patient. We're running a sewer out west, kind of along the bike path, Duck Creek, right? To take pressure off our sewer system, take pressure off that water pollution control point, which is probably, in my view, and I tell this to our respective federal and state part, the number one thing we need money for, because it's old and the city council's now discussing a whole heck of a lot of money to fix it with partnerships in Bettendorf and other small communities, because that's the place that takes all of our stuff, your stuff, when you flush the toilet, right? So we're going to run a new line, and it's huge, and it's expensive, and we're going to take that pressure. But at this, I'm going to say it, and I know some people say, don't say it, Mike, but I'm going to say it. This will open up the West. As many of you know in this room, there was a vision years ago, the north part of our city, the Greater Davenport Redevelopment Corporation, and many people, again, in this room and other places, said, we need to set the table. We need to get the ground ready. We understood that. And you see the results. It can't be questioned. So we're going to do that in the West. And we're looking for partners. And we're having discussions. And we're talking to folks about how best to do that. But you have to set the table. You have to prepare infrastructure. You have to get ready. And it's wonderful that the city council, previous and now, understands. And people understand that we got to put money into this. We got to put the infrastructure. We got to run a sewer. And so in the future, when someone's standing up here, probably for many of us aren't around or enjoying life, actually, we'll be talking about that. So this Interceptor Sewer Extension, huge project, federal, city, county, whole bunch of folks are partners in this, and it's critical to economic development. It's critical to relieve stress off our water pollution control point. Next. All right, street prayer, we hear you, we've heard you. I'm not going to dwell on it because I've talked about it before, but $50 million of investment almost. 24 construction projects for just this next calendar year. So be patient. Don't go through the barricades. Take the detour. We're doing streets. We're working on them. We have many partners in it. Lots of other maintenance projects going on, but infrastructure is a priority, and that'll continue to be a priority. And I thank you for your patience, but that is a focus of the previous city council, current city council, and I'm sure the next city council. Next. Well protected. When people talk to me, this is it. But you're going to see some statistics up on your screens there. A lot of people said a year or 2, 3 years ago, can't hire police, can't hire firefighters. Nobody wants these jobs. Well, at least here, we want them. We love them. We respect them. We take care of them. All right? Simple as that. 22 new hires. I talked to a lot of my counterparts recently around the state. They're like, what are you doing? How many did you hire? Credit to you folks, talking to people, finding people that are interested in law enforcement when law enforcement is tough. Talking and focusing on many different types of organizations to encourage them to find folks that might be interested in this wonderful public service job, right? Again, a lot of us sitting here, but hardly any of us, if somebody calls 911, we're running to where that 911 call is. But they are. Those folks that brought in the colors, they are. And it is a service job that means so much, but it's hard to get people to do it. Please continue to have folks that you think might be good candidates, people that might be interested, of all walks of life, from various backgrounds. Please continue to encourage them to apply and get through the process. I tell, years ago, we used to have one hiring thing a year. We have, I call it continuous now, at least 3. If you get through the testing and get on the list, we're probably hiring you. We want you to believe in this service. We want you to take it serious, and we want you to be part of our city. I go to most people's new city hire orientations. I did it this morning. We had 15 new people coming to the city of Davenport in various places. But recently I went to one and we had 10 new candidates for police, 5, 6 new for firefighters. Thank you for getting people interested, because Davenport is a good place to work and we love our law enforcement and first responders. And then one other thing I want to talk about, some of you know, some of you don't. A couple years ago, we had a concerted effort. I, as the Metro Coalition, and many people in this room went to the state and said, and thank you to our state legislators, there's 8 judicial districts in the state of Iowa. We're the 7th. 4 of the judicial districts around Iowa had what they call high-risk law enforcement officers and a supervisor. Our district had 0. One other district, not real far from us, had 8. Thanks to our folks at the state, we were able to get 4 law enforcement, high-risk officers, and a supervisor stationed in Davenport that are actually on the job now, doing the work to take pressure off our police officers. Thank you for that work. Thank you for the people that advocated. Thank you for the people of the state that did that. We will continue to do and work for things like that. Thank you to the people that advocated for civilians to be in our police department, for our forensics, our analysis, our analytics. Thank you for all of that, so our police officers can do the jobs that they signed up to do. The added benefit of all of those folks helping law enforcement do the job, because you say public safety is a priority. There's so many pieces to that. Hiring is one, but those other pieces are just important. So thank you very much. Next. Okay, I'm not going to have a conversation that I get to talk to anybody that I don't talk about this. And some people say, Mike, you talk about it all the time. You're daggum right, I do. Group violence intervention. Now we are a nation leading. We, and I mean our police department and our community members that have come together to do this. We just had, and Chief can correct me if I'm wrong, a whole bunch of folks from Arkansas. We've had a whole bunch of folks from other states that have called us, have talked to us, have come here and want to know what the heck we are doing. And I appreciate the love that's been given by Mr. Tomes in Rock Island. They're doing it. I appreciate the love that's been given by our school district. They're doing it. All these folks understand that if you want to attack gun violence, if you want to deal with gun violence, you got to go to the person that's doing the gun violence. It's a simple concept. 102,000 people in Davenport did the statistical analysis. About 100 or less are the ones actually doing it. We hear from folks in the media that gun violence is crazy and everybody in this room is doing it. No. So we took a concerted effort to focus and go to New York and go to South Bend and go to places. Sarah Ott's sitting in the room and she's on a temporary assignment right now. But that's a joke, I know, okay. But she helped with that. This thing works. This concept, this approach works, and I'm so proud that our police have bought into it, our community members have bought into it. You can see the statistics there. I don't need to tell you, but anybody in here who's sort of good at math, and I'm not, but anybody who's good at math, I don't know, 14 out of 146, that's a heck of a percentage. So coordinated care for that many families, who else is doing that? Well, people in the nation are realizing who's doing it, and they're coming here to learn. Thank you very much for everybody that does this. Next. Coordinate the CAP program. Just wanted to make sure we talk about that because it's still a thing. Over 1,000 youth have been assisted, assessed, worked with. And when I say youth, they're families. We don't want the youth to get into the GVI program. Basically, GVI is basically for adults, although we're working on youth. But it's mostly adults. The coordinated assessment program is for youth. So having this, oh, by the way, having it in the juvenile detention center, yep, okay? So all these places where we can touch and come in contact with adults and youth to do better. That's what this is. Thank you for the partnership between Bettendorf, the county, and Davenport to fund it, and it works. Again, huge investment, but 1,000 youth? Tell me who else is touching that. Thank you. Next. Okay, Fire Station 3, you probably see it. Pretty cool. Public safety, we had years ago. Where do we need to improve? We need response improvement in the north with all the development. We need response improvement to the east, to the west. So here we go. And what's cool about this is the community center and the police have an office they can work out of. Instead of having to run down to downtown Davenport and do the reports and then go back out, we actually have a big city, a lot of miles, right? So they can do work there. So this is state of the art. They welcome you. Please go visit it. Please go see it. If you're interested, and I know some people are, and I'm pretty sure Ms. Lynch might correct me, but I think some of our older folks are actually using it for some of their meetings. So that's a great thing to bring the community into our facilities and see what's going on. And this is a great investment. Oh, by the way, we paid off the bill already. So I think. Thank you. Next. Okay, neighborhoods. This is where people live, and this is what matters. Fairmount Community Center, a lot of people have been talking about it. This summer, it's opening. Big place, kids to go next to our library. Thank you, library partners, for working with us on this. Thank you, council, for putting some ARPA money here so that we have a community center out there, because neighborhood's important. People need places to go. Youth needs places to go. This is another example that our council cares about neighborhoods. Next. And we'll see more. Park investments, there's the list. You see them. That's a list. Last year there was another list. The year before that was another list, because our council, our staff understands the importance of our parks and our amenities and putting stuff together up top. For you folks in the West, and might have remembered where DOS discussion was, that's where it was. Now you got a big spray park. There's other things, just all the things that we're doing with the parks. Thank you, Mr. Dyson, wherever you are, and the Park Advisory Board, your vision and your goal to continue to take our parks to the next level. And this is a list, and we have many more that are coming. So several new exciting upgrades, and our parks are second to none. And I think, was it Mr. Hammond mentioned the Miracle Park? I mean, if you haven't been to Vanderveer and seen that all-inclusive playground, you need to go there. And the amount of kids and the amount of families and the amount of adults that are intermingling with each other and talking to each other and enjoying themselves, that's a great plus and an example of thank you for helping with that. Next. All right. Probably one of, and you'll see the next two of the coolest things that probably most of us, certainly me, have seen happen in recent years in Davenport. This is one. The partnership with the Friends of Martin Luther King. Here very shortly, June 19th, that might mean something to you, Juneteenth, right? Okay. Historic grand opening, ribbon cutting celebration for Martin Luther King Park. If you're at the base of Brady and you head up Brady, there it is. A great example of a recognition of folks, but especially the leader, Martin Luther King, actually being in Davenport and speaking, and then recognizing the importance of the Friends and taking it upon the partnership with the Friends, with some ARPA money, with the city to put this into play. We've talked about this for a bit, and here we go on June 19th. It's opening. So if you haven't seen it, haven't got over there, the park's there, then the Friends building is there. Go visit it, go see it, stop by, and certainly on June 19th, stop by and say thanks to everybody who's involved. This is an awesome addition to our city. Thank you for everybody involved. Next. Veteran Memorial Park. So a couple years ago, no such thing as Martin Luther King Park. A couple years ago, no such thing as Veteran Memorial Park. 10 years ago, we put phase one in, and then we kind of paused. Heritage Park. All these things, and you'll see here shortly another thing going on in the river, were non-existent. But through the vision of many people, veterans, MLK, Heritage, others, they're happening, and they're they're exploding. These are pictures from the dedication last November of Phase 2. What I want to draw attention to, I've seen a lot of partnerships and I talk about it all the time and they're wonderful. But this one, that lower left picture of students from West High, Denver Community School District, thank you very much. Just put this picture in your head, and I'll probably talk a little bit long on this one. Students at West High School with their teachers in welding and robotics came together with the friends, Mr. Churchill and his, and said, we want to do Phase 2 and we want to have these things and we want to make a mural. So you can see all those kids standing in front of the mural, how big it is. If you haven't been down there and experienced it, it's pretty awesome. They, in their parking lot at West High School, the teacher, Mr. Schaefer, and others, painted it in their garage, painted it in their parking lots, welded it, steel beams bigger than most places, holding it up, did all that work, came together with union contractors working together, with a whole bunch of other community members, with a whole bunch of veterans, did the mural, put a bugler out there that's life-size, put pictures around of all the wars, but made this happen because they cared, because they wanted to leave a legacy for people that come after them to see and remember things like what their fathers or mothers or grandparents did, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, etc. And the kids, those kids who probably up until then, hey, we do some projects, but now they have a permanent, living, historic example of their work. And I can't applaud and thank the school district and those folks, and certainly the Friends enough. One of the coolest partnerships I've seen, so thank you. More phases to follow. There's 7 projects, right, Bill? 7 projects for Phase 3. Stay tuned. Urban revitalization used to be a thing. We used to struggle what to do. Then a few councils ago said, that's kind of a dream, right? Let's revitalize. And there's a person in this audience who was on the council at the time and now is a supervisor, Ms. Rawson, who, sitting in the back there, who said, we struggle with it, but we can have a goal of getting this done and starting the dream project. And now we're through 5 rounds of it. Revitalizing central neighborhoods, revitalizing homes, revitalizing corridors. We have one just for Gain Street. Very successful. We have more applications than we have money. So each council discusses more money to dream, more money to this revitalization. I anticipate we'll continue to do that. But we have Extreme Dream, we have Dream, 5 rounds, millions into revitalization. People talked a couple years ago, don't know what to do, don't understand it. How do we do it? Through the guidance of Ms. Rawson and many other people at the council at the time, and many people who are sitting over here, certainly Mr. Dunn was sitting here, Rick Dunn, sorry. Sorry, Tim. Rick Dunn and others at the time, Mr. Jobson, Mr. Grip, Ms. McGinnis, said, let's do this dream thing, and then the staff executed. So revitalization is actually a thing here. Next. High-performing government, all right? We're on our 8th cohort, 8th group. The city council just recognized 8th group of folks, about 20 each, of people that are interested in city government. What do you do? What do departments do? What does public works do? What does libraries do? What do all these people do? And you're going to hear me talk about all the people here in a second. But they learn, and I would encourage everyone here to either participate or get people you know to participate in the next cohort, or maybe the cohort after that, and see where it goes. So the fire department, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, but takes you through a smokehouse. The police department takes you through, all the different things, takes you through what they do so you understand what goes on. And you learn budgeting, or at least about it. You learn about the different departments, and it's a great way to understand your city, your government, and what goes on. So I'm very proud of the people that are involved, understand finances, et cetera. When we talk about budget, you understand kind of the details of it. So it's very important. This is a great thing. We'll continue to do it. Thank you for everybody that's participated. Yep. Relationships with our federal and state, I continue to talk about our school district, St. Ambrose, Palmer, Family Resources, SAFER program, all of these things. Kansas City CP, quiet zones are happening. The planning and investment and money is happening to do those. So as my wife and I sit at Front Street and we hear the train and the horns, that's going to end soon, okay? Maybe not this year, but next year. That's going to end. Those horns are going to stop. So those partnerships and things are happening. Metro Coalition, the big cities in Iowa coming together to talk about things. League of Cities, Bi-State, I think I saw Denise, right? Yeah. Miss Biolette, Denise, Bi-State, working together across the river. The 5 mayors, every month, the 5 mayors from East Moline, Moline, Rock Island, Davenport, and Bendor, and the county supervisor, saw Mr. Beck and Mr. Brunk from Rock Island, get together and talk. How can we work together? How can we do better? What are you working on? What are we working on? What can we do? And then Bi-State kind of putting it all together so we can do that. So partnerships are critical. Federal partnerships, thank you. State partnerships, again, I saw Ms. Winkler, and if somebody else is here from the state, I apologize. Thank you for that. But this advocacy, this relationships is so important because we don't do anything by ourselves. We need this support. Next. A lot of other things going on. So people probably heard we're looking for a city administrator. People probably heard we're looking for a corporate counsel. We're also looking for a chief communications officer because maybe that's not temporary anymore over there at the school district. I don't know. So learning management system, agenda manager, all these things we're doing, right? Well, city administrator search, I don't know who knows what, but we try and keep you informed, at least at the council level. Mr. Grip tries to do that. We've hired a firm. The firm's been in town. The president of the firm is the one actually doing it with his staff. So he's talked to the selection committee, talked to the city council, talked to others, developed a kind of a rules and set how we move forward. This Wednesday, hopefully the city, and I believe full-heartedly, the city council will approve moving forward. But that next few weeks, they're going to do their thing. And they're going to find people. And they're going to bring people and vet them and take them through all kinds of background stuff and checks. And then they're going to bring some semi-finalists to the selection committee, which will happen shortly. Month, 2 months, 3 months. And we'll narrow that down. And then the finalists will come into Davenport, however many, 3 to 5. And then a whole bunch of folks, the selection committee, but I'm going to get some panels together, and we're going to have some interviews. And then we're going to try and find top 3. And then we're going to take it to the city council, and then we're going to let them discuss. And then we're going to hopefully have one by September. Corporation council is moving forward too, and all these other things. So people have asked, we need some new eyes, we need some new focus, we need some new this, we need some new that. That's happening, and our intention is to do that. So those processes are moving, they're underway, and so far they're on track. Next. Vibrant region. We talk about a lot of people can't do anything, but we have partnerships, but Main Street, Destination Iowa. So this is, to me anyway, a great example of working with folks now and in the future and in the past, using other people's money to get other people's money. No disrespect to some of you, all right? So ARPA money and railroad money to get state money and to build a historic, state-of-the-art riverfront destination, Main Street landing place along our river. Yes, it's flood resilient. Yes, H.R. Green was involved. Yes, Sasaki was involved. And I think, H.R. Green, thanks for coming. And quiet zones will be part of it. LED lighting is part of it. And one thing that's really cool, we did this in partnership with the Figgy, who in their awesome way of doing what they do, said, can we partner with you? And oh, by the way, in a couple months, they raised a few $1 million so they can partner. So picture this as you're flying over Davenport at night to land at the Quad City Airport. And when all this is done, you're going to see Main Street Landing lit up. And then you're going to see this beacon of awesomeness at the Figgy. Because you all know right now it's glass encased. That's going to have lighting, state-of-the-art lighting, designed by state-of-the-art artists that will change and move all night long. And think of that picture that they're going to show of Davenport and the Quad Cities on the river, at the Figgy, as people are coming here and looking down. Or they're driving by. Or they're just there. That's what partnerships do, and that's what this is going to be. And it's going to change and evolve and have things for kids and have a water feature, et cetera. $20 million project. That's happening, that's being designed, and that's working. Next. Junior theater, one of our great programs, been talked about a little bit recently, but it's a big deal, and we need to find them a place. We have a temporary place. Is that going to be a permanent place? I don't know. We'll see. But this is a big deal to keep junior theater. It's one of the, I think it's the first and one of the best junior theaters in our nation, and hundreds and hundreds of young adults, kids, parents, families participate. And it's just a gem, and we're going to keep it, and we're going to grow it, and we're going to find it a place. We're committed to that. Next. Okay, Party in the Park, there's a schedule. Is Miss McGinnis here? Yep, in the back, Alderman McGinnis. A few years ago, she said, can we have some parties, like in the park? Party in the Park. So through the last many years, we rotate, and now we're doing some again, some of the same parties. So neighbors, people can come together, organizations come together. What a concept, in a park. Everybody talks, everybody plays, kids have games, they all get to know each other, they all come out of their house, they get off their phones, they get away from the computer, get away from their laptop, and engage. What a concept, what a simple concept, but it's been awesome, and we'll continue. And please attend, please go to these if you can. Tell people about it, know the schedule. If it's in your neighborhood, get people to go. Special thanks also to Kraft Heinz, who's the presenting sponsor, who puts a lot of help into this. Thank you. Next. All right, Art in the City, another partnership with the school district. 13th year. Recognize someone from every school. They put together an art design, do their work, get recognized. They pick one of their own, and then the city council recognizes this, and we did this just recently, 13th year at City Hall. Just another example how the city understands how important it is. Not only do we have cultural amenities like the Putnam and the Figgy and all these other things, but we actually have kids that want to do this stuff and are interested, and that's such a cool thing. And so the partnership that we continue to have and we know we will have with the school district to recognize, a lot of times we hear some things about some kids that maybe aren't so favorable, but boy, is there a ton and ton and ton of things that kids are doing that are wonderful. This is one example of many examples. We just think it's important to recognize it, and we'll continue to do it. And thank you, partnership with the schools, for doing it. Nice. Okay, big investment. This is one of the cool things I'm proud of, and I think it gets recognized, but probably not as much as it should. Good neighbor projects. I mean, you can see the slide, how many projects we've done. 30-some community events around the city that engage neighbors and community members with our folks on the city staff, with other people. 125 good neighbor projects, block parties, way to engage with the community, outside of Party in the Parks, outside the parks renovations, just other things. I don't think he's here, but Sergeant Harris isn't here, is he? But certainly many of our police folks are. Their engagement is with many things we do is critical to this. The book drive, the cops and cones, all of that, to show that we care about you, our police care about you, and the good neighbor projects that take and recognize neighborhoods as an integral part of our city is paramount. And I can't thank you enough for all the work that so many people do, many in this room. All right, this was Bixen, RAGBI last year, but this year, I'm guessing 50th anniversary of Bix. 50 years ago, 40 people, kind of was a thing, let's get together and run or something up a hill. Now, we get about 15 to 20 to 25,000 runners depending on the year, depending if it's a national championship like last year, depending if it's what kind of race it is. But it's historic, and it's one of the biggest in the nation, but this is 50. So if you're so inclined to be around, potential record numbers, people call it the big homecoming because everybody wants to come back. Well, if you've ran it before or haven't run it, this is the one to run, because for some of us in the room, you might not be around for the next 50th one. So if you maybe just want to walk it, but this is going to be quite the party. enjoy Downtown Partnership and everybody that's involved, and Ms. Juring from Bix. This is a big deal. Get ready. This will probably be one of the biggest parties in the Quad Cities in a long time. So looking forward to that. And already the work that's being done is pretty historic. Thanks. So I've talked about a lot, and I could go on forever, but my wife would beat me up, so I don't want that to happen. I won't put into words what I'm going to say next, because I can't, but I'm going to try. None of this happens. None of this wonderful, positive thing that we call the City of Davenport or Team Davenport happens without a quality, caring, compassionate staff. Miss Merritt and the department heads, all of them, their deputies, their people, more than 1,000. Giving a damn what they do every day and caring about this city. There is no better staff. There is no better leaders. There is no better people than the staff at the City of Davenport. There are 6 unions that we work with in a very positive way that care about this city and what they do. The collaboration and partnerships that the departments work together on. We have 6 nationally accredited departments. Nobody else in the state has 3 or more. But we have 6. Now, some people say, okay, good. That's outside eyes coming here, and again, I'll just look to police and fire. You tell me if I'm wrong, and certainly others, library. The list of things you have to go through to meet this accreditation is lengthy and impressive. But they do it because they care that people look at them and evaluate them on how they do their business. And I can't say how proud I am, how thankful I am of the work that our staff does, the work that our leaders do, the work that the people come together for you to make all the things that I get to talk about happen. Thank you. Next. So local partnerships, state partnerships, federal partnerships, I won't belittle it, but I just want to end the thing with saying thank you. There's pictures of different organizations there, you know, Junior Theater and Friends and all the festivities and all the ribbon cuttings. I mean, if you're not paying attention to things going on in Davenport and the Quad Cities and certainly in all the other communities around the Quad Cities, the amount of ribbon cuttings that the ambassadors go to is pretty impressive. And Mayor Tomes and I and other people, we try to go to a bunch. We can't get to all of them because there's so many of them. But that says something by itself. But it's because of partnerships. It's because of the work of so many people, especially many of you in this room. I thank you for what you do. I thank you for caring about this city. I thank you for caring about this community. I thank you for giving a damn and working hard. And I'm so appreciative of what goes on, both in the downtown Davenport and the north part of Davenport. The west part of Davenport, the east part of Davenport, the central city and the revitalization and all of that. The city council, the community members, law enforcement, everybody coming together, sometimes having tough discussions, sometimes being told some tough things, but that's okay. I'm so thankful and happy, and the momentum, positive momentum that's happening in this community, in this city, in this region is second to none. And just look around, just drive around, see the things that are happening, see the things that are being built, see the people that are coming here. It's amazing. Thank you for listening. Apologize for going long. Don't go into the barricades, and be safe about what you do. Have a good day.